Good Saturday morning, folks. So, Wednesday the 6th, we all know what that day brought about. There's no doubt that by now you've heard or even was engaged in, you were either for or against what took place on the 6th. And now there is talk of even more of this kind of stuff going on the 20th. So, I want to give everybody a little up to date. We're going to go back a little history and then where we are in the 21st century compared to some events earlier in this country and in my life. We had a civil war, 1860s. Back in those days, there were horses, there were no automobiles. Photography was there, but it was a rarity. Huge boxes, it just was very much a rarity. Certainly no cell phones, no internet, none of this kind of stuff going on today. Just did not exist during the Civil War. What these two entities, the North and the South, the Civil War, the South trying to secede, what they had as far as guns and that kind of stuff, a little bit different than what we've got today. And they didn't have all the social media, they didn't have all this stuff. And it was a truly political movement. It wasn't a rogue action. It was a segment of our country that led by the elected officials to that part of our country, the South versus the North, if you will. So it was a well organized thing, and it basically was down to we don't like what the union's doing, so we want to break from the union, and that's kind of what started all that. And we know how that turned out. Then we're going to move on up to the 50s and 60s, the era that I grew up in, and we had the civil rights movement, and we had the anti-Vietnam War protesters. I was in that group. I was very young, but I sided with those opposed to Vietnam War. Vehemently, I was against it. And this culminated in about 1970. And we found out a couple of things. Number one, that even protesting in a nonviolent way without our being armed, no weapons on our part, our government not only had the capacity, but they would shoot to kill. So that became known as the Kent State thing. A popular song was created about that event, and it went down our history books. We immediately got rid of our bell bottoms, cut our sideburns, got rid of the peace signs, and went corporate America. That's bottom line what happened. Now we move into the 21st century. And back then, we didn't have social media, we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have all this stuff that we've got now. Now we've got a new division coming forth, not happy. We went through all this stuff, but now it's a different tone in a way. I don't recall any time during the 50s and 60s that we actually tried to prevent an election from taking place or a transfer of power from taking place, transfer of presidency. I don't remember any of that. We might have marched and protested against something our government officials were doing, our elected officials were doing, but I just don't recall our ever questioning. The first questioning of what happened in an election that I can remember was during the Gore and Bush, and that was all about hanging chads in Florida. It wasn't even truly about election fraud. Somewhere after that, this election fraud thing became a popular sentiment among a lot of people. So if you were on the losing end, election fraud. If you're on the winning end, you didn't hear that. But if your man lost, it was election fraud. Anyway, let's go on now to what happened this last week. And let's talk about what they're proposing to do on the 20th, which is being there's chatter on the internet and these ultra right-wing Trump supporting groups and individuals posting more or less threats. Well, yeah, we're going to do this. Um, what does this, where's it going to lead? Well, we already know from Wednesday's event, you're not going to accomplish anything. You're making a statement, it's going to be on the wrong side the time the statement's made. You look at the people as being arrested because, watch, Ma, look what we're doing. Here's me carrying a stolen item from the Capitol building. Don't I look like a patriot to you? That's what they were doing. I mean, the law enforcement don't even have to leave their desk to find you. They look, oh, okay. Does anybody recognize this face in this picture here? This guy carrying this, or this guy with a Confederate flag? It's a simple process. Very inexpensive investigation. Do you think they're not coming for you? Do you think they're just going to let you overrun this thing? You know, your side is not the only side. The government is there supposedly to represent all of us, so they're just going to let someone by force shut down. You got to be kidding me. And what is so senseless about this is the people that we're seeing, like the guy from Alabama, my hometown of Athens, Alabama, that tased himself in the nuts and died of a heart attack. These are not low-life, beer-drinking rednecks that don't have brain one. These are easily middle-class Americans who have some kind of an education. The one guy was a stay-at-home dad. His wife is a physician. He's the one carrying that podium. Look what I got, Ma. God. Are you right or wrong? Whether your issue, whether your views are right or wrong, forget that. Your approach to it, what you're trying to do. I'm not even going to get into the movement stupid. I'm going to get into your actions are stupid. You're going to change things by this, and you expect not to go to jail? You expect no consequence for your actions just because I'm right, they're wrong, so I can get by with this? It's not going to work that way, folks. You could be 190% correct in the election being stolen, but your approach to this thing is 290% wrong and stupid and ignorant. And otherwise, I assume you are somewhat rational, intelligent human beings that have been fairly good citizens in this nation. You've had careers and have been able to live a nice, rosy, little middle-class American life in a nice home with a nice family and kids with all the goodies that America has to offer, from big TVs to nice cars to hunting clubs. And really, slow down. Slow the hell down and think about what you're doing. And to get away from whether you're right or wrong as far as your philosophy and views are concerned, forget about that. I'm not discussing that. Your way of thinking you're going to change things. We're not dealing with black powder guns. Our government can blow your town off the map with a push of a button without even endangering one soldier's life. And you're going to take your pea shooter guns that you're standing there taking selfies with, and you're going to what? You're going to get yourself killed or imprisoned? You're going to endanger your family and your kids? No change is going to come from this, not your actions. You can be angry. You can march. You can protest. You can get loud. Get a bullhorn. Scream it out. You better take a breath and think about what you're doing. There's now a dad, a stay-at-home dad in Florida, who had a picture of him taken carrying the podium from Pelosi. Yeah. Married to a physician, got kids, stay-at-home dad. Now, what's this physician lady going to do for her kids now that stay-at-home dad is locked up? Federal charges. This is not going to turn out well, folks. This is not going to turn out well. In your efforts to change something that you didn't change, and it wasn't going to change by this process that took place, it wasn't going to happen. Now you've lost your freedom. Now you've really screwed up your family life because your physician wife has got who's going to raise my kids when I go out and be a doctor? And the guy that tased himself in the nuts and died of a heart attack. He didn't change a thing. All that. And Biden's still going to be president. Regardless of what you think about stolen elections, regardless of what you think about anything, Biden's still going to be president. You're not going to storm Washington on the 20th. You're not going to poop on the party because it's not about Inauguration Day. That's going to happen, even if it happens in a bunker. Biden's still going to be sworn in. He's going to have his 4 years, regardless of what you do. You're not going to get close to him. Our president is the most protected person on this planet. And they don't care if it's Trump, they don't care if it's Kennedy. They learned their lesson. Now they're the most protected. No, they don't care if it's Hillary. They're there to do a job. And they're going to do that job. They are going to do that job. Regardless of you and your pipe bombs, regardless of you and your pea shooters, they're going to do their job. They may let you break a door down and get in there and take that self. Look at me, I'm in the halls of Congress carrying a Confederate flag. What are you doing? What are you doing? If you've got a cause, that's great. Freedom of speech is great. But why are you being stupid? If your cause is that great, why are you going about it this way, ignorantly, stupidly, in a losing situation? It's like my home state of Alabama, heart of Dixie, just can't get over the fact that we lost the fucking Civil War. We still want to fly that losing flag. We wrap our arms around our loss. So what are you saying? We didn't really lose the Civil War. It was stolen from us. Is that what you're saying? First of all, don't base your opinions simply on rhetoric and accusations. Demand proof. Really, demand it. I want to see it. I don't trust elections either. But I got to see some proof. I'm not going to give and take away millions and millions of people's votes simply because I feel like something's wrong, simply because I heard something was wrong, simply because a politician told me something was wrong. May be true. Give us the proof. So all these Trump-appointed judges turned him down because he had proof. Thankfully, we do have a judicial system that says you gotta prove it. Innocent until proven guilty. That's the whole basis of our legal system. That's it. He's been doing this. He's been fighting it all the way up to the 6th. Keeps getting turned down. Keeps by his own Republican people. But yet it's this big conspiracy against Trump. Think about what you're saying. Think about what you're doing. If it's true, Demand Trump show you the proof. Demand these people that get on these sites and spout this stuff off. Great, I want to believe you, but show me. Let's share the information. Let's get it out. I'm for it. If there's something bad and evil going on, get it out. Share it. Don't just, we've got it in this briefcase. Get it out of the briefcase. Show it to us. We all want to see it. We all want honest, fair elections. Trust me, we do. Saw one that was shared with me this morning, this woman spouting off about her, all this stuff. It's like, they wouldn't let us show the evidence. Don't wait. We got social media. Put it out here. I want to see it. Scan the documents. Put the video. I want to see it. Share it with me. Yeah. I really want to see it. I demand to see this proof. I want to see what these Republican judges were denying. Show it to us. It's that simple. But you're not going to stop the inauguration by storming buildings and marching down streets. We learned that in the 50s and 60s. We didn't do it. Our little pea shooters are not going to overturn the government. It's not. I'm sorry. Those guns are of no effect against our government. Sure, you can shoot 2 or 3 and you can get shot. But you're not going to beat the system that way. We learned that. We learned that. You should have learned it by now. I'm not saying you're wrong in your views. I'm not saying you're wrong in your philosophies, but I'm saying don't be stupid. So now we got this father of kids in middle class freaking Florida that got caught up in this shit. His wife's a fucking doctor. Now where's he? His wife's got to go to work Monday morning, show up at the office somewhere and deal with patients, knowing that her name and her husband's name is plastered all over the country and his picture carrying Pelosi's podium. And she's got to try to act professional as she seeks some daycare for the kids. And her husband locked up in jail over stealing a podium and breaking and entering. So what's going to happen? Nothing changed. It didn't change a thing. That kind of sacrifice, that kind of loss did not change a thing. We've been through this before, and times are even different. The 60s and 70s, we learned you're not going to beat the system that way. Yes, make a noise. Sure, make a noise. There's a way to make a noise, and that wasn't the way, breaking the law. Come on, man. I mean, I'm wondering how this Kevin guy tased his own balls. The only thing I can assume is he had a taser either in his front pocket or close to his privates, and it didn't have a safety on. Tasers, you got safeties on these things. I don't think he intentionally did that. I think that he didn't have a safety on his taser. He fried his nuts and had a heart attack. It's sad. But what's so sad is the mentality that went into this stuff. Didn't change a thing. He died for no reason. Died for no cause. He got family. He's got loved ones. He lived in a middle-class house. He was a contributing part to society. He was loved and cared for. Why? If he stayed home and used this, he could still be alive. You have to assume that it was the tasing of his nuts that caused the heart attack. Maybe he had a pacemaker. I don't know. But I know the result is not favorable to either side. The result accomplished nothing. And at some point, if you're in a battle, if you're at war, in a battle, you've got to sit down and say, okay, let's draw out our map. That didn't work. What are we up against? Is this going to be effective? Nobody did that. They just got pumped up. You gotta be strong. They just got pumped up. They acted with mob mentality. We've been through this before, folks, and times are different now. Now we got this instantaneous internet. Look at me. I've got Pelosi's podium. And then a newly elected official from where, Virginia somewhere. Look at me, Mom. We're breaking into the Capitol building. His political career's gone. What's going to come of this? And I'm not even debating the subject matter of what prompted this movement. I'm just drawing attention to the insanity of what these people expect is going to happen. You're going to break in here, you're just going to take over, and you're just going to what? You're just going to what? Wake up, people. If you want to be proud to be America, if you want to make America great, not even again, just make America great, a little bit of intelligence might go a long way toward that end. But this was not backed up by any intelligence whatsoever. This whole process was not backed up by any rational thought whatsoever. I don't care what side you're on. This accomplished nothing because nobody took time to map anything out. You're not going to do it with guns and violence because you're outnumbered. That's not the way it's going to happen, folks. It can't, and it's bigger now than it was. We learned that in the 50s and 60s, trust me. Oh, it takes a lot more. Get on the street, protest. With this stupidity? No, it wasn't Black Lives Matter. No, it wasn't Antifa. This guy carrying Pelosi's desk was not Antifa. You can go back through his social media once they shut down. And the guy that tased his own nuts and had a heart attack from Athens, Alabama, he was not Black Lives Matter, I can guarantee you. He wasn't Antifa. He was a QAnon. Fact. That's the kind of people you're dealing with. All this other bullshit is bullshit. Ask for proof, not just somebody suggesting. You want to make America a place to be proud of? Start demanding proof on all sides, not just one side, not just the side that tickles your ear. Truth is not always what you want to hear, folks. My sister got diagnosed with inflammatory carcinoma. That was truth. It wasn't what she wanted to hear. It wasn't what we as a family wanted to hear, but it was truth. That's the way truth works, folks. Truth does not come about to appease your views at all. Truth does not come about to validate your pre-existing views. That's not the way truth works. But you still should demand it. Start thinking, people, regardless of where you stand with the issues. Think about what you're doing and what change is it really gonna bring about. Yeah. Make America someplace to be proud of. Not just a bunch of rednecks with guns and battering iron. I mean, come on. That make you proud, huh? I still say peace and love. Even the Bible says love conquers all. See any love there? Did you? Peace.